kits. And in the middle of the debate, when she proclaims that she's of Indian heritage because her mother said she has high cheekbones. That's her only evidence, that her mother said she had high cheekbones. We will take that little kit and say, but we have to do it gently. Because we're in the Me Too generation, so we have to be very gentle. And we will very gently take that kit and we will slowly toss it, hoping it doesn't hit her and injure her arm, even though it only weighs probably 2 ounces.
President Trump, as usual, having some fun at his latest rally in Montana, throwing down the challenge to the woman who could be one of his challengers in 2020, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Let's bring the panel in. Joining me now, radio talk show host, former advisor to Chuck Schumer, Chris Hahn, GOPAC chair, David Avella. All right, guys, thanks for being here. All right,
Thanks,
Chris,
Judge.
you know, if Elizabeth Warren does run, I mean, you know, her identifying herself as a Native American because she has high cheekbones. I mean, a lot of us have high cheekbones, is kind of an empty excuse for being or saying she's a minority, but then using that to gain a financial advantage with a school. That's not good.
I think the president talking about it on stage over and over again, first of all, is the most uncivilized thing I've seen. I've heard you talk about civility. That's ridiculous what he just did at that rally the other day. As for what she used for school, I don't know what her background is. We don't know what her family history is. And I don't think it's going to be relevant. And it also shows that the president keeps talking about her because he's threatened by her, because she is a strong, intelligent woman who would be a far better president than this man was, who understands things that he can't possibly comprehend. So keep on hitting her. All you're doing is raising her profile, and she would be a better candidate than you think.
David Avella, do you think Chris is right when he says that Elizabeth Warren would be a far better president than President Trump?
Of course she wouldn't be, and Chris must turn down his earpiece because he hasn't listened to what Democrats have said about Republican presidents every time one gets elected, whether that be President Trump, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, or Ronald Reagan. You hear the same old tired old rhetoric about them being racist and them being sexist and them being against women and them being against the poor. Though it is worth noting that if you saw the survey results this week, you now have voters saying that it's Republicans who are more for the working class and it's Democrats who are for the wealthy and the elite and the business community. So people see through it, and more importantly than those comments about Elizabeth Warren, it's the rest of the president's message that matters, which is we're going to have secure
do you
borders.
Think it was appropriate?
We're going to have economic security. We're going to have personal security in this country, which he started in his first term, and he's going to continue in a second term.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
I mean, David, I don't think you think it's appropriate for him to continue to call her, quote, Pocahontas.
He didn't call
from
her
the stage.
Pocahontas in that
Chris,
shot.
come
He
on.
didn't call her
The president
Pocahontas.
of the United
She's the one, Chris, who
States.
started it.
Well, you know, the president of the United States continuing to poke at that is just unpresidential.
To poke at the fact
it's uncivilized,
that she
and
said she was
it's
Native American and
ridiculous.
she can't prove it. What did he do? She's the one who said it, used it for a financial advantage.
He doesn't know what she can or cannot prove, and it's not for him to decide.
It is no more absurd than this civic chaos that Maxine Waters and Tom Steyer and George Soros are all out there pushing as they try to impeach impeachment. But let me say this: Chris's team should continue to promote civic chaos, because every time they've done it, 1968, Republicans won 32 seats. 1984, when they pushed civic chaos, we won 49 states. Chris, let me finish. In 2004, when the Code Pink came out, George Bush won 31 states. So, Chris, continue pushing civic chaos. That will only ensure Republicans pick up seats in the Senate this year, and President Trump will be on his way to re-election in 2020.
Go ahead, Chris.
David, civic chaos was what happened in Charlottesville when a right-wing nut drove his car into a crowd and killed somebody. Civic chaos, people protesting, people standing up, people marching in the street who are agitated by the policies this president has done. That is not civic chaos. That's civic engagement, and it's good for America, and it's going to show in November. The blue wave is coming. We will both talk about it after the election, and if I'm wrong, have at me. But I will be having at you, my friend.
The gentleman this week that had his hat taken off and beverage thrown on him, that's civic chaos, Chris. It may be a smaller amount.
Than the woman who that's worse than the woman who died in Charlottesville,
yeah,
right?
But, you know,
the woman who died
David,
in Charlottesville. And then the president said there were fine people on both sides there. So let's talk about civic chaos. Let's put it into some perspective. I'm sorry Alan Dershowitz got disinvited from a barbecue on Martha Vineyard, but there are people dying because of right-wing violence.
You know, Dave,
well,
Chris,
there's people dying because illegal aliens are coming across the border and killing innocent Americans.
No.
Yes,
oh, they are?
Yes, Chris.
David, you know that's not true.
That is true.
That's true, Chris.
That is absolutely true.
You know that the crime rate, David, you're smart enough to know that the crime rate
stop.
on illegal
Both of you
immigrants is the
stop.
same as it is
Stop
among everybody
right
else.
now, Chris. You want to make reference to one killing? He can make reference to the number of Americans who've been killed by illegal aliens. Don't tell him no. Facts are facts. And on this show, the truth is the truth.
Judge, here's what we know. Chris didn't write the speech for his old boss, Chuck Schumer, who said in 2009 that people who come into our country without permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens shouldn't be treated the same as people who come here legally. The only difference is Chris and his team are now for open borders, and it started with Hillary Clinton when she went to Brazil.
No, we're not, David.
When she went to Brazil and told a group of American businessmen that she was for open borders.
Chris, let him finish. She went to Brazil and what?
And she told him she was looking forward to having open borders between the U.S. and South American countries.
Okay, that's enough. Chris, go ahead.
It's a complete lie that Chuck Schumer's for open borders and that he doesn't believe that we should have a border and that we should be tough on immigration.
Chris, are you out of your mind?
We believe in having a process, and we believe that
Clinton,
when people
all of them wanted open borders, and they called them illegal.
There was less illegal immigration. There was less illegal immigration under Obama than there has been under Trump, and that's a fact.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
So let's also be very very clear.
You're telling me we're out of time.
We believe
Chris Hahn, David Avella. We can continue this off the record. Goodbye.
We could.
All right. He left the left behind, and he has some very compelling reasons for doing it. My interview with Brandon Strzok, the founder of Walk Away, is next.